In this video, I'm going to talk about how much water to drink when you're fasting, and can you drink too much water when you're fasting? My name is Ben, I'm a PA, and I share beginner tips and strategies and answer your questions about fasting. So a general principle that makes this whole thing easier to understand is whether you're eating or fasting, your body's always kind of trying to balance the amount of water and salt that's coming in. You got to keep your water and your salt in balance. And that's because the water and salt are the main things that make up your blood. So most of the volume in your bloodstream is water and salt. I mean, the salt kind of is the main electrolyte, and the water obviously makes up most of the volume. So they need to kind of be in balance. And so let me share a few examples to kind of illustrate this from both sides, if you have too much of one or too much of the other. So first of all, you know that when you take in salt, if you eat something salty, they usually talk about like potato chips, right? But it could be anything with a lot of salt. Maybe like an hour later, you're going to get thirsty because your body is telling you you have too much salt and not enough water. So you need to drink the water, bring the water up. But what about the opposite? Are there scenarios where you can have too much water and not enough salt? Well, yes. Let me share a couple examples from the hospital or the medical field, things that I've seen or things that I've had to learn about. So one time I was on a night shift at the ER, and this guy came in who was an alcoholic. So he spent most of his time just wandering the streets looking for alcohol to drink. And he came in and he was, experiencing some weakness or something. I don't remember the exact details. But we did some blood tests and found that his sodium level was very low. Sodium, salt, same thing. So his salt level or his sodium level is very low in his blood. And the doctor that I was working with right then said, "Oh, he has beer Pottamania." What the heck is that? Well, beer Pottamania is this funny sounding term that means if somebody drinks a lot of beer, which has a lot of water but not much salt, I don't know if it has any salt, but it wouldn't be much. Somebody who drinks a lot of beer, eventually they dilute the salt in their blood because they're not really eating or drinking that much else, just the beer. They dilute the salt, and so then their sodium level is very low and can be dangerously low. So that's what was going on with that guy. So he had to be admitted to the hospital, and they had to slowly kind of bring his salt level back up. There's also this funny sounding condition called psychogenic polydipsia, which is when somebody is a little crazy and they drink too much water. So that's the idea, is that they don't understand that they're drinking way too much water. They think they just need to keep drinking water, water, water. So that's what that condition means. And then those people eventually get low sodium in their blood. So when you're fasting, the same general idea could apply to you. So the same thing could happen to you. In other words, if you're thinking, I just need to drink water, 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 and then you're not taking in any salt, then of course your water level is going to be too high, your salt level is going to be too low after a while. And so that's not great, because that can make you feel fatigued, that can make you have low exercise tolerance, and if it gets to a really extreme level, it could cause other dangerous complications. So when you're fasting, just like when you're eating, you want to balance the water and the salt. So yeah, drink water, but also get some salt. And there are various ways you can supplement your salt. I've talked about that on my podcast. I'll probably make some videos about it in the future, but you just want to make sure you're consuming a fair amount of salt, probably a few grams of salt per day, which is a few thousand milligrams. That's for most people. If you have certain medical conditions, you may need to make adjustments, but in general, a few grams and then a decent amount of water, and it balances out. If you're wondering about other things you might want to drink while you're fasting, then I've got a video right here that talks about lemon water and fasting, and another one here that talks about coffee and fasting, specifically bulletproof coffee, but also mentions regular coffee. So go ahead and watch those videos if you want to learn a little bit more about different drink options while you're fasting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.